Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to NXT The Game Season 1, Episode 17. This is NXT TakeOver Deep South. Let's get straight into the action. Tom Phillips, Nigel McGuinness, and Steve Crenna welcome us to NXT. Tom Phillips says that tonight on NXT we're going to have one hell of a show for everyone. The camera stands on them for a while as we fade to ringside. The camera is panning the audience now as it lands on none other than Drew McIntyre. The fans go crazy as Drew McIntyre is back here in NXT. So Drew McIntyre is back. Triple H is now seen in the ring saying, "This is NXT." So a hot start to NXT TakeOver Deep South here tonight, folks. And it's going to get hotter because DIY theme hits as it appears. We're starting off with NXT TakeOver Deep South with DIY taking on the new It Factor, Blake and Murphy in a cage match. DIY, Johnny Gargano, and Tommaso Ciampa are getting the crowd hype as they begin to make their way down the ramp and towards the ring. All of a sudden, though, from behind, DIY is hit and sent rolling down the ramp and towards the ring as the fans are quiet as they watch something unfold, unsure of what's going on. It's not Blake or Murphy, but rather a new group led by who appears to be the returning Solomon Crow. Crow, as he's now known, gets in on the action now as the trio begins to lay into DIY. As they reach the ring, Crow throws the cage attendant to the crowd and pushes the button that sends the cage towards the ring. Descending towards the ring, that is. The fans are booing now as DIY has been sent into the ring as the cage drops, locks into place. DIY is locked in a cage with Solomon Crow and two other men who are with him. Gargano and Ciampa are now tasting steel as the trio begin to absolutely assault them in the ring viciously, violently, vividly. As soon as the cage locks into place, it begins to go back up with tons and tons of officials and agents running out, including William Regal. As the cage lifts, this trio hops the barrier and leaves through the crowd, leaving DIY a bloody mess. Their match tonight has been canceled. So DIY had the match with Blake and Murphy, but they've been attacked by this trio led by Solomon Crow. Obviously, the names up here are Masada and Donst, but we're going to get to that later in the story, that is. But that's what happened right now. So DIY viciously attacked, surprisingly so. Now, on to our first match. And about that featured decent wrestling but didn't have much heat. The Authors of Pain defeat TM61 in 15 minutes with ACOM defeats Nick Miller by pinfall. The Authors of Pain make defense number 3 of their NXT Tag Team Championships. And the Authors of Pain get the victory over Shane Haste and Nick Miller here tonight. The bell sounds and the Authors of Pain are declared the winners. Paul Ellering taking the NXT Tag Team Championships from the referee and pumping up the guys at the same time. The Authors of Pain have successfully cleanly defeated the TM61 team and have retained their NXT Tag Team Championships here tonight. Alright, into our next match now. And about that had decent wrestling but didn't have much heat. Candice LaRae defeats Peyton Royce in 13 minutes when Peyton Royce gets intentionally counted out. Peyton Royce is being given back her NXT Women's Champions after, yes, she lost, but only via countout, which means the championship does not change hands. Peyton Royce and Billie Kay walk back up the ramp thinking they're smiler than everyone else in the world, surely taking the advantageous approach of what William Regal and company have to deal with tonight after the attack by the group that we have now learned who are calling themselves the Crow's Nest. We see William Regal, who turns away from the monitor looking at what the iconic duo just did, very upset. We pan and see Ty Dillinger now. The fans cheer. They discuss NXT TakeOver Deep South and the beatdown that DIY was given at the hands of the newest stable, the Crow's Nest group. In walks Drew McIntyre. The crowd pops. Ty welcomes Drew as he walks in, and Drew just ignores Ty walking up to Regal. Drew says he heard that the number 6 spot in the Money in the Bank match was yet to be determined, and William Regal said he actually heard it wrong. It has been. The fans pop. Ty tries to talk, but Drew cuts him off again, this time calling Ty little fella inadvertently. Drew says that he's suited and booted, but like a wrestler, always has his bag. He's disappointed. He wanted a fight. Ty Dillinger tries to talk again, and Drew cuts him off. This time, though, Ty gets into Drew McIntyre's face. Drew just laughs it off, though, and Regal says he doesn't have time for this tonight. The DIY Crow situation, iconic duo, making a mockery out of the Women's Championship. He says, Drew, you want a damn match? Fine. Ty isn't booked tonight, and there you have it. Go get ready. You're facing Ty Dillinger, and you're facing him next. So Ty Dillinger and Drew McIntyre with an impromptu match. As we pointed out earlier in the episode of, TakeOver, Drew had just debuted here tonight, but Ty wanted a match based on what Drew was doing to him, and that's exactly what he's going to get. A match. Tom Phillips pops up on screen with Nigel McGuinness and Steve Crenna, and Tom Phillips lets us know that we've just been given word that DIY is being taken to a local medical facility and they'll be reevaluated as the night continues. So Crow's Nest really doing a number on DIY. In a decent match now, Drew McIntyre defeats Tye Dillinger by pinfall with the scat drop. Drew McIntyre successful here in his debut match against Tye, the Perfect 10 Dillinger. Alright, Aleister's Black now music hits as he makes his way down the ramp for the NXT Money in the Bank match. The same thing can be said for Andrade Cien Almas. The same thing can be said for Eric Young. The same thing can be said for Cassius Ohno, who needs a gimmick change. And the same thing can be said for Mr. NXT. That leaves us with one other wrestler, the man who will be taking the 6th spot in the match. The fans are waiting, expecting Tino Sabatelli. However, that's not who the music hits. It's Hideo Itami returning from injury. The fans are over the top excited. The fans are over the top excited as Hideo makes his way down the ramp and towards the ring. That right there was a Microsoft Word update as we were in our episode, but we're going to leave it because it's hilarious. All right. In a decent match, Hideo Itami defeats Andrade Cien Almas, Eric Young, Aleister Black, Cassius Ohno, Mr. NXT in a Money in the Bank match. When Hideo Itami retrieved the briefcase, Hideo Itami wins the NXT Money in the Bank Championship. Now, I do pick winners in most of my bouts. However, I did not pick the winner of this bout. So Hideo Itami, per the Game Engine thought Hideo Itami should win, and thus Hideo Itami is your NXT Money in the Bank briefcase holder. All right. Hideo Itami sustained a chronic upper back pain in this match. So fucking fantastic. Does he have to drop it already? I guess we'll have to see after the show. Alright, next we get a video package of the NXT Champion Bobby Roode and Curtis Axel. They'll go one-on-one for the NXT Championship coming up next. And here we go, our main event of the evening. Please let it get above a 60. I would really appreciate that. A 60, whatever. In a decent match, Bobby Roode defeats Curtis Axel in 19 minutes by pinfall with the payoff. Bobby Roode makes defense number 3 of his NXT Championship title. Bobby Roode successfully defends against the Axeman, Curtis Axel. So let's see what our rating was. 64, our best rating yet. This is great. NXT TakeOver Deep South was a complete success. And this was NXT The Game Season 1, Episode 17. Thanks for watching NXT TakeOver Deep South. We have a lot of stuff to get to with DIY, with Bobby Roode, with Hideo Itami, with the Crow's Nest, with Peyton Royce and the iconic duo getting counted out. A lot happened here tonight. We'll be addressing it all as soon as next week with NXT TV. Thanks for watching, everyone.